Welcome to chapter number 3. In this chapter, we are going to explore the interface of Adobe After Effects. If you launch After Effects for the first time, so you may have this beautiful, informative welcome screen at the top of software. In this top section, you can find sync settings that sync your project preferences with your Creative Cloud account. And down below, you can find all the recent projects. Since I'm using software already, so I have a long list of recent projects that I have working on before. So you may not have this list, but it still exists here. In this right side of the welcome screen, you have these helpful options. New composition, you can make composition right from here and start working. Open project, if you already have a project in your hard drive. Help and support, if you need any help about After Effects. And finally, here is getting started tutorials from Adobe. And if you don't wish to see this welcome screen again, no problem. Just click on this little box that say show welcome screen at startup and then hit the close button. In your exercise folder, chapter number 3, you can find this file, explore the interface of After Effects.aep. Click on this file and then hit on the open button. Now let's talk about the interface of Adobe After Effects. After Effects have multiple built-in workspace. You can also make your own workspace for After Effects. But for follow me on this course, I suggest you to use the standard workspace so we are on the same page. For having the standard workspace, you need to come here workspace and click on whatever workspace you have selected and then click on the standard. And then again click on the standard and then click on reset standard. And After Effects asks, are you sure you want to reset the original layout? Yes. And here we go. Here is the default standard workspace. After Effects is very similar to Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop. If you pay attention to left side of this panel called Project Panel. This panel allows you to import external file in Adobe After Effects. If you click on any panel, so a blue line will appear at the boundary of this panel. So this blue line indicates this panel is currently selected. And if you have see the top of any panel, you can find the name of panel. And if you wish to move your panel from here to somewhere else, you can click on the panel name and then start moving. And you can see here is the different blue lines that indicates where your panel need to be fit. And if I come over to this right side and I just release my mouse button, so this panel will appear on this section. Let me close the panel from here. So if I click on these little 3 lines, so you can have another menu. So let me close to the close panel option. And now it's closed. Now if you want to get back this panel, there is 2 different ways. One is go to here and then reset your workspace. And the second option is go to the Windows and then find project from here. And Ctrl+0 is the shortcut of project. You can click on this and this panel will automatically appear where you close this panel. So let me move it where it belongs to be. And here we go. Okay, and here is the composition window. In this window, you can see all the preview of your entire composition that you have currently selected. And if I move to some other composition, so you can see the preview has been changed. And in this section, this is the info box. If I move my mouse on composition preview, so you can see RGB values and alpha values. And also you can get the X and Y pixels from this composition window. And if you're working with audios, then this panel may help you to adjust the volumes of your audio section. And here's a preview panel. You can take a preview by clicking on this play or stop button, or you can press the space bar while selecting your composition from here, and you can take the preview like this. Here is the libraries option. If you have signed in with your Creative Cloud account, so you have to access to use your libraries inside After Effects. And here is the effects and preset panel that contain all the built-in and external plugins and presets. You can also find these options from effect, and you can find all the options from here that you can currently watching on this effects and preset panel. This is the important panel of Adobe After Effects. Layer panel. All the layers that you're currently using in the composition can be found or reordered from here. It's very similar to the Photoshop layer panel. You can change the order by click on the layer and then drag it to the down or to the up. And let me set it reset. And you can also select a single or multiple layers by holding the control key and then select on the second layer that you wish to select. Here is a modes option that also very similar to the Photoshop blending modes. You can click here and you can choose the different blending modes in between. And here is the toggle switches and mode. If you click on this button and can press the F4 button from your keyboard, so you can toggle between the switches and modes. So these are currently we are watching called modes, and if I click it here, and these are switches. These switches are really helpful. For example, if you hide this layer from layer panel, but you want to be this layer on your layer panel and in the preview panel, and you just need to hide it temporarily. So here is a quick solution. You can click on this little icon that called shy, and then you need to turn on the switch for the entire composition, and boom, this layer will be goes off. And if I click on this composition, so this composition can also hide it from here. But if you wish to work on these layers and composition again, so you can come here and click on this button that called hide all layers from where the shy, and here we go. Let me uncheck these two options. And you can also import the pre-composition inside of your composition. For example, life in street. If I go to my compositions folder and if I click on this composition told me this is a composition of 1920 by 1080 and have 10-second duration and 29.90 frames per second. And now here's the second composition that called logo life in street, and this have also some different settings. And if I need to bring this composition inside of this composition, so you can click and drag it here, and you can click and drag on this composition icon like this. Here we go, we have another composition. So let me select this and press the delete button from your keyboard. And if you double click of any of these layer from here, so you can have another preview of the layer that you double click, for example like this, like this, like this. And if you click on any pre-composition and double click on this, so you can open the pre-composition in a separate window. And if you notice, the preview will also change, and a blue line indicates this composition is currently selected. So I can move in between the compositions by click on this composition name. Let me close this for a moment by click on this little cross button here. And this red line have a blue head called current time indicator, and in short we call it CTI. And if you click here and you can start moving your mouse, so you can see the preview of your entire composition by scrolling your mouse to the right and left, something like this. And also here is a timeline that telling you what is the exact time of this composition and where is your current time indicator. So in that case, I'm on 3 seconds, and for example I need to move 5 frames forward, so let me type 5 here and then click on the enter button, and you notice my current time indicator will move for the 5 frames. You can also select the layers from your timeline. If you want to select the multiple layers from here, you can also hold the control key and select the multiple layers and can move in between the time. We have discussed enough. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about the fundamentals of Adobe After Effects.